Now, continuing in the next video, in the last one we had discussed till transportation. Now we are talking about art and craft. So the Harappan art and craft was a very advanced one, as is evident from the statue of the bearded man or the bronze figure of the dancing girl. Also, we have found many figures made up of clay, terracotta, some of bronze. All these they indicate that the art and craft of Harappan people was very advanced. Now, one very interesting discovery that we have made is that of a woven cotton, piece of cotton that has been found at Mohenjo-daro, and some textile impressions. That means, like we have prints on our textiles, on our fabric today. Similar kind of textile impressions were found on certain objects in Mohenjo-daro. This indicates that weaving was a very important occupation. It was an important craft during that time. So you know that there are two processes: spinning and weaving. Spinning means to take out the thread from a yarn, and weaving means to make a cloth from that thread. So, the presence of this woven cotton and textile impression on certain object, it shows that weaving was a very important craft. In addition, there were other occupations like boat making, seal making, making terracotta figures of human and non-living things. So, as far as humans are concerned, there were male female figurines made up of terracotta which have been found. And in this, like you can see in the picture, the figures they are wearing very heavy ornaments, and they are wearing a very elaborate headgear. Headgear is like a crown kind of thing which they are wearing at the top. So this shows that even the smaller statues, they were made with a lot of perfection. When it comes to inanimate, non-living objects, we have already discussed things like the terracotta model of bullock carts that has been found. And since it was an agricultural community, we have also found many plows. So the humans wore heavy ornaments, jewelry, and elaborate headgear. And among inanimate things were terracotta models of bullock carts and plows. Now, this is a picture of Harappan pottery. As you can see, it is made well, and it has some kind of black geometrical patterns which are made over it. This picture which has just come, this speaks a lot about Harappan pottery. What can we say about Harappan pottery from this picture? Firstly, the pots which were made during this period, they were they had a lot of shine. They were very shiny and glossy. You can see the luster of the pots from this picture itself. Secondly, we can say that the pots they were baked on a potter's wheel. Potter's wheel, you must have seen that the potter they have a wheel kind of structure on which they bake the clay and they make the pot. So the pots, the earthenwares during this period they were made on potter's wheel, and as you can see in the picture here, they were decorated with different black geometric patterns. And the third point, as you can see in this picture, many of the pots they used to end up in narrow necks, and they were red in color and had black beautiful points and decorations which were made over it. So when I ask about pottery, you will say that the Harappan pottery was glossy and shiny. Earthenwares and pottery made on the potter's wheel were decorated with black geometric designs, and the large jars with narrow necks and red pots with decoration were the evidence of their artistic skill. Now, again, when we are coming back to sculpture, I hope by now it should be so thorough that as soon as I say sculpture, two things should come to your mind, and I know you know the answer. First one should be the statue of the bearded man, and the second one should be the bronze statue of the dancing girl, both found at Mohenjo-daro. And in addition to these, we have also found certain toys or certain figurines which are shaped like animals, buffaloes. These have also been found. Now, what is the purpose of these? They could either have been used as toys or cult figures. Basically, since it is resembles a toy, they are small structures. They may be used as toys. And cult figures, that means they may have been used for ritualistic, for worship purposes. Like today, we have statues of different god that way. So, in addition to the bearded man and bronze figure of dancing girl, a number of bronze figures of animals and models of carts have been found, which may have been used as toys or cult figures. Now, this next part is a very important question, that by what process were these sculptures made? So, the process is called the lost wax process. Now, what does this process mean? As the word suggests, What we do is first we take wax and we give it a particular shape. For example, if I am making the figure of dancing girl, I will give the wax the shape of that dancing girl. On top of that, I will apply a coating of clay. Then, since you know that wax can very easily melt, we will melt that wax, and in its place we will fill some molten metal and allow it to solidify. So now the object that is prepared for metal, and that becomes a sculpture. So this is the lost wax process. So if I ask you by what process were the sculptures during the Harappan period made, you will say they were made by the lost wax process. In this process, the wax figures were covered with a coating of clay. Then the wax was melted and the hollow was filled with molten metal, which took the shape of the original object. Now, when we are discussing about ornaments, it is quite clear from the image of the ornaments in the background. Firstly, it's a very simple concept. There are only 3 points. Firstly, you will say that ornaments were worn by both men and women. Then you can see that they used to wear a variety of ornaments, be it necklace, earrings, nose pins, bracelets, armlets, all these things, bangles, everything they used to wear. And what were the materials used to make these ornaments? So it may be gold, silver, precious stones, or ivory which is obtained from the tusk of an elephant. So simple ornaments, both men and women wore it. Common ornaments were necklaces, earrings, finger rings, bangles, nose pins, armlets, etc. And the materials used were gold, silver, precious stones, and ivory. Now, in the last thing that we cover for today, we are discussing about toys and amusements. So as you can see from the picture, the people, basically what we are discussing here is what the people used to do in their leisure time. So people played a variety of games and they had many forms of entertainment. They used to play the dice, the Harappan dices you can see in the picture. They used to go for hunting or fishing. They used to play some musical instruments like drums or lyres. Lyre again is, you can see in the picture, it looks like a stringed harp. And they used to make toys of different birds, animals, human figures, cards, etc. So if I ask you what did they do in their leisure time, what was their amusement, you will say they played a variety of games and had many forms of entertainment like hunting, fishing, and playing with dice. They used to play musical instruments like drum and lyre, and toys of birds, animals, figurines, etc. were also made. So today in this video we have particularly focused on the art and craft, and we know that the Harappans, they made a varied amount of art and craft, especially in terracotta, clay, stone, bronze, different type of materials. We also know that weaving was an important craft from the discovery of the woven cotton at Mohenjo-daro. We know that the small figures of humans as well as animals was found. In inanimate things, we have plows and carts being found. They had a very innovative, glossy and shiny kind of pots which had black geometrical patterns. Then in addition to the toys being the sculptures may have been used as toys, or they may have been used for ritualistic purposes, like the sculpture of the statue of mother goddess may have been used for religious purposes. Then these sculptures, they were made by the lost wax process. Ornaments were worn by both men and women, and there were a variety of ornaments. And lastly, they did a variety of things as amusement in their leisure time. They hunted, they went for fishing, they played musical instruments. So vaguely, or very thoroughly rather, I will say, we have covered this topic. I hope it is clear to all of you.